Hello there, my spider friends. Today we are doing a video about what happens when you suddenly become disabled. I am a person who is, I was going to use a South Park reference and it might get me in trouble, so not going to do that. I'm a person who became disabled through an accident. I wasn't born disabled. And this is the circumstances for many people. Many people have an accident and they become disabled. And I wanted to talk about, like, through my own experience, what that's like. Like, if something's happened to you and now you are disabled, then, like, this is sort of like what you're going to expect. Using my own experience as like a guide and like the experience of others whom I've spoken to through various like disability forums and that. So first of all, the first thing that you should know about you're disabled now. Here's what happens. Lots of people are going to tell you that you're not disabled unless you are in a wheelchair all the time. People are going to treat you, especially people you know, but even complete strangers, are not going to consider that you're actually disabled. Because people tend to have, like, a definition in their mind of what being disabled is. And some people are like, well, unless, like, you can't walk, you're not disabled. So, I can walk, but I have limited mobility. I'm disabled, I've got a spinal injury, I've got spinal arthritis, I've got arthritis throughout my body. Some days I'm very mobile. Some days I'm very mobile on my feet. And some days I'm just not at all. It's intermittent pain problem. Weather affects my... I'm pointing that way because that's where the door is, not just being crazy. Weather affects me a lot. Over the past few weeks it's been very, very dry, and for some reason when it's very, very dry it makes my knees click so badly, because I do have like arthritis in my knees as well, but in particular my right knee. I've had quite a few accidents and like injuries, like sports related injuries, that kind of thing. I came off a motorbike once and like really like did my knee very badly in that crash. So my right knee in particular has been particularly painful, and that's just something that you're just gonna have to deal with, because the problem is that there's a lot of ignorant people out there. Just recently I was told by a woman who doesn't know me that because I can walk with a mobility device, I'm not disabled. Because I can walk, I should be able to go upstairs. They couldn't see the issue as why I couldn't go up a set of stairs. I mean, it's not just one thing usually with disabilities. Usually it's a combination of factors, because like I'm really not supposed to do stairs at all. But I do, because in certain circumstances there's no other option. Like I go to a certain friend's house and they only have stairs to go up to a toilet. So if I need to go to the toilet, I've got to go up the stairs. There's nothing in the matter, and some days that's fine. But there has been, excuse me, there has been circumstances where, for example, at my best friend's house, he only has an upstairs toilet, and I was having a very, very bad knee day, and I was like, I'm sorry, I've got to use the downstairs loo. The downstairs loo is a bucket. I had to pee in a bucket at my friend's house because I couldn't go up and down the stairs. This is something else that you're going to learn about being disabled, is you're going to learn to improvise. You're going to learn to do things that will make your life easier, that are ultimately most of the time embarrassing, but you sort of do it just to get along, and it's about finding what works for you to make your life easier as a disabled person. So you're going to have people who treat you like you're not even disabled. You're going to have people who tell you to your face that you're not disabled, and that there's no reason why you can't do certain things, even though they're not privy to your medical information. That's just something that's going to happen. So another thing is, it's going to take you a while to figure out how to like get about, whether you're going to be in a wheelchair or you're going to use a mobility device, you're going to use a stick. It's going to take you a while to figure out what works best for you, because it's not like one size fits all when it comes to disability, and everyone is completely different. I've brought some of my different sticks. This one is one that my next door neighbour found and then like gave to me. It had been like abandoned near the bins, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's a little bit old, but it's fine, and I can use this in either hand. It's wooden. The rubber stopper does need replacing on the end. You can buy replacement rubber stoppers. It's just something I've not gotten around to. I don't use it that much. But when I broke my collarbone, this was absolutely essential, because it's not an ergonomic handle. And my main stick, which is this one, is an ergonomic handle. It's right-handed, so I prefer these handles because it fits your hand perfectly. And it's like, this one is a fold down. So like you can pull it apart like so, and it folds down into there, and then you kind of go like whoop-ah! That didn't work. Whoop-ah! And it all comes back together again. This was originally black, as you can see. This is where the holder is on my roller tour, which is where all the paint's wore off. But I did spray paint this myself in this lovely, like, swirly Willy Wonka inspired pattern. And this that's on it, because I mostly use my roller tour, I usually only tend to take my stick off for like, if I'm just going like it through a narrow doorway or something like that. This is a clean key, and the idea is that you can use this to press like the button to cross the road, or you can use it to operate door handles, or you can use it to open like your kind of pop. There's a multiple use for it, so I've got it on this little extendy thingy on there, and this usually sits on the stick holder on my roller tour. And then if I have to walk about with it, I'll stick the clean key through my finger so it doesn't dangle about and annoy me. So like discovering ergonomic handles was great, because they really work well for me. But I couldn't use it when I had my broken collarbone because I'm right-handed, and that's a right-handed stick, so I had to use this one. This is my old one that I don't use anymore. This has got an ergonomic handle, but it's covered in duct tape because it's got a texture on the handle, and that irritated my hand. So I covered it in duct tape, and that sorted it out. And then this is like covered in stickers. A lot of these have like peeled off, but it's mostly Star Wars stickers, like covered from top to bottom, and then like covered in sellotape to hold it. But like a lot of these ones like at the top have faded because I took this stick to Florida with me, so it's like it's sun bleached. So I don't use that one anymore, but I still keep it because there's essentially nothing wrong with it. It's just I prefer my new one. So you're gonna, if you need like a stick to walk, you're gonna want to experiment with different handle styles and see what works for you and find what you find comfortable. Because I know some people don't actually like the ergonomic style handle and they prefer this style. So don't feel bad if you get something like a mobility aid and it's not working for you. It could be that this particular thing just doesn't work for you. It's not a reflection on you. Don't feel bad about it. It's nothing to do with you. You just need to try a few different things. It's the same with wheelchairs. Not all wheelchairs are the same. My wheelchair that I have is, even though it's a manual wheelchair, so I can operate the wheels, mine is like unbelievably stiff, and no matter what we've done we can't get it to loosen up. It's actually no good as for me as a roll it yourself wheelchair, but I've been in roll it yourself wheelchairs and operated them fine. Other people's chairs, it's just mine is terrible, but like I can't replace it. I can't afford to get a different one, so I just kind of have to live with it. That's for when like I really just can't walk and I need somebody else's help. And I had wanted it for like, you know, manually like operate it myself, but it's just not a very good wheelchair, basically. That's the problem with it. So like, yeah, not every mobility device is going to work for you. You're going to have to try some different things and play around with like adaptations. Like my Rollator, I've got on it a stick holder and I've got a cup holder and I've got baby pram hooks to put like shopping bags on, and I've just got, it's supposed to be for a wheelchair, so I've not fitted it yet because I can't really find the right place to put it on. But it's meant to be an umbrella holder for a wheelchair. Excuse me. And so I've got this arm and I just need to figure out where to put it on, and that's going to be handy for like putting on a shopping basket or putting on an umbrella even. But it's a good adapter. So like, here's a pro tip: search for like pram, what do Americans call them, stroller things, because if you search for disabled ones, they're a lot more expensive than if you search for like baby pram ones. So have a look at those, as well as like and Amazon as well is very handy for these kind of adaptations that will make your life easier. It's a good idea to talk to other disabled people who have like similar conditions to you to find out like what's worked for them. One thing that's gonna be a bit weird for you becoming disabled is realising and accepting your limitations. I'm like a really independent person. I like to do things by myself. I don't like to ask for help. I feel really embarrassed asking for help. But I'm learning to accept that sometimes I just need to ask for help, like that I've just got no choice in the matter. It used to be that I would push myself to my absolute physical limits no matter what. Pre finding out that like I had spinal arthritis, I always had it. I always had a very painful back, but I always pushed myself beyond like my comfort levels of physical limits, because I felt like if I didn't, people would think I was lazy, because I didn't know of like my pre-existing conditions. And if you're anything like me, like that's going to carry over for a bit, and you're going to want to do things to push yourself that you actually can't do, because you don't want people to judge you, and people are still going to judge you. The fact that you're disabled is that they're still going to judge you, but for you, it's about learning to accept this as part of your life now. Like when I've grown up around disabled people. My aunt, my dad's sister, was very severely disabled. She had ataxia with epilepsy and a couple of other like neurological disorders, where she was a perfectly normal child. And then she became very accident prone. She was always like tripping over and bruising herself and hurting herself. And eventually she lost all mobility. And there was nothing really wrong with her mind. It was just her body that was like completely broken down. And she died of pneumonia at the age of 21. So I was a baby when she died. I didn't really know her, but there was a sort of legacy of her as I was growing up. And she was always spoken about. So like I just always learned to accept disabled people and like not like question and judge them. My mother, when I was growing up, worked for a lady who had cancer of the spine, so she was confined to a chair, and her two sons were microcephalic, which, if you've seen American Horror Story, Freak Show and Asylum, Naomi Grossman, wonderful actress, portrays a character called Pepper, who is microcephalic, who has what's called like a pinhead. This lady's two sons were both still alive, both are microcephalic. So like I've grown up knowing these two like men, and so like I've never really been uncomfortable around people with like mental disabilities either. And then like my nana, on my dad's side, developed Parkinson's disease, so she became confined to a wheelchair. So like I'm just used to it. Like for me, it's just something that it's something that's always been around me. But for many people, they've never been around someone who's disabled, physical or otherwise. Whether they've got like a mental disorder or a physical disorder, some people, it makes them really uncomfortable to be around disabled people, and they don't know how to act and they don't know what to do. And some people are willing to learn, and some people just have in their mind like their own prejudices, and if you say to them you are prejudiced, they'll get very offended. I'm not prejudiced. I don't hate people in wheelchairs. I just hate you because you're not in a wheelchair, because you're saying you're disabled and you're not in a wheelchair. Or even, you're in a wheelchair but you can walk a bit. You're not disabled. This is the kind of attitude that you're just going to have to get used to, because there are ignorant people in this world, unfortunately. And I don't have any good like advice to deal with them, because I'm still figuring it out. But it's going to come as a shock to the system. Trust me. It even though I'm trying to prepare you for it now, like it's going to be a shock to the system every time it happens to you. It's going to take a while to get used to. I'm still getting used to it. Like I'm kind of used to people doing like the whole like patronizing thing and like not believing you're disabled but being polite. I'm still kind of thrown by people who like, and I'm going to use a direct quote, like you're just being dramatic. It's not that you're disabled, because you're not disabled because you can walk. You're just being dramatic. You're gonna get that, unfortunately, from some ignorant people who have no idea what it's like living with a disability. You're gonna encounter situations where you're gonna go places, and previously you might never have thought about access, and now you're like, everything is about access. Everything. Like, how am I going to get around this particular place? You've gone on a day out somewhere with friends or family, and suddenly it's like, how am I going to get into this building if there's no access ramp? What am I going to do if we go to this restaurant and they don't have a disabled toilet? What are we going to do if like this happens? Like, I went to the pub the other day with my friends to do a pub quiz. And the pub wasn't really accessible. There was a couple of steps in, and my friend helped me into the building because I can do like a single step. It's not that much of an issue really, but getting my roller tour over that step was just not possible for me. So I had to get like my friend to lift it in for me. But if I was on my own, I just couldn't go. I just couldn't get in the building. And when I went to the toilet, this was one of the typical, this is like a British pub thing, where like, it's an old building and they've not put in a disabled toilet and they've not made any adaptations. And so in the ladies' toilets, like, you open the door to the ladies' toilet and that door is brushing against the toilet seat. And I'm not a thin person, so it's a squeeze getting into the toilet. I'm already not mobile. I fall over a lot in toilets, a lot. People don't know because you generally go to the toilet on your own, and it's embarrassing falling over, particularly in a toilet. So where I have most of my fall accidents is in like toilet situations. I fall over every day. Whether it's just a stumble or a full, like, I'm falling onto the floor. I fall every single day, and the majority of the time it happens in toilets. These are going to become the bane of your life, and you're going to end up in situations where you think, there's no accessible toilet, it's so I'm not going to drink as much, and I'm not going to hydrate, so I don't have to go to the toilet. You're going to end up doing these things to yourself to try and make your own life easier. And you kind of, one thing I would get is like a disabled person, like coach, like one of your friends, to sort of remind you to hydrate. It's like, I know you don't want to use the toilet because it's difficult and it's painful and it's a real hassle, but you need to hydrate, particularly in the summer when it's really hot. Like, you need someone who can go to you like, I can see that you're physically struggling and you're pushing yourself past your physical limits. You need to take a break. Because that's something I'm terrible for that. Pushing myself way past my physical limitations, and because I don't want to inconvenience anyone, and I don't want to like slow down like other people, and I'll push myself to the point that like I'm hurting myself doing it. And this is like internalized ableism, really. But this is something that you need a friend to sort of go to you, like, take a break, because at the end of the day, like, if it was somebody you loved who was doing this to themselves, you wouldn't let them do it. So why should you do it to yourself? This is just something that you're going to have to learn. I think I've probably like covered enough for this, but if you want me to do another part, let me know in the comments.